Hello everyone, we are playing in Google Hangout on Gauntlet Hangouts Fellowship. We are back to the Fellowship after they met the Azure Dwarves and found out that people from the past are back in town and they are bringing the Overlord to them. The last we ended previous session, we were traveling to meet the Wood Orcs, but they need to overcome the forces that the new would-be titans of the dwarves and the allied troops of the Overlord have seized. But before do that, I want to remind everyone that this is a Gauntlet game, so the Gauntlet inclusivity policy is in place. We also are using the X card and script change, so always be sure to recurse to those safety tools if you don't feel comfortable with the direction the game is going. And we also have lines and veils, which we feel free to add something that you don't want to deal with today or that you want to happen off screen of the game. So the tunnels become less heavy. You can breathe easier, and especially for Mishmish that did not have the most usual environment with the weather on the ground. They can feel the change of pressure as they get closer and closer. And scouting ahead, they can see a dozen of troops installed on what seems to be a stone watchtower guarding some kind of mechanical gate. And you can see most of them, they are wearing these elaborate chainmails with cloaks whose clasps are incrusted with sapphires and copper helmets. And some of them, they seem to be taller than most and have these cloaks and clasps over the top of more plain looking iron armor, and they have full helms that cover them, which you suspect that are allied forces operating on behalf of the Overlord. Now, why don't each of you, except our orc, tells us who they are, who's playing them, and what we see they doing something awesome, taking down these people as the camera fans to them. So let's start on the order of the character sheet. So I think we are going to start with Mishmish.
So Mishmish, the elf, is actually a fairy. She is very small. She has wings. She flies around. She glows a little with some pixie dust, and she flies directly with an angry face at those enemies to shoot them from above with her bow, trying to.
And what is the effect of Mishmish's arrows?
I think they're regular arrows, completely regular. She's not gonna do much, but at least she looks cool. What she's doing. They're probably also small, but totally regular arrows.
Okay, so as we see tiny death from above, then we cut to Chief Hamfast.
So Hamfast is a rather elderly halfling. You see him riding on his also rather elderly boar, and he is clutching a long spear, which is about twice his height, rather too hard and looking somewhat nervous. And as the sort of the camera falls on him, he spurs the boar forward, and the boar sort of trundles as fast as it can go, which is not very fast, in the direction of the enemy, and he levels his spear at them and closes his eyes.
And lastly, but not the least, we see Palace, the Blightbringer.
I see Palace doing some coordination as his eyes are glowing like a very dull grayish color as he's using his ability to see in places that he is not, and actually keep track of some of the patrols as they are coming around, and then also using that to speak to others to help to coordinate from afar.
The dwarves are not having a nice day. They're supposed to be a quiet position, which all they have to do is to be on the lookout of traitors that might try to slip in. They were not expecting to be attacked from the back. I mean, come on, they are not even suppressing the populace in town. They wanted to be away from troubles, and suddenly things are in chaos. This changes when one of the figures in iron armor steps forward, yielding a massive hammer, and it shouts in clearly the voice of an harbinger. This will not do for those that ally for Sikandar Imegas. Stand, make a line, don't let anyone pass through. And as the initial impetus of your coordinated chaos and charge dissipate, it seems that you're going to be back down in a clear confrontation until a familiar face erupts from the other side of the barricade, exploiting the opportunity that you create. So, what do we see Aradia Whisperscar doing now that she has an opportunity to reopen the path to the kingdom of the Azure Dwarves?
Radio Whisperscar is, as the aforementioned orc wasn't here last session. Orcs here are made of where they came from. So that's why we have leaf orcs and wood orcs. And I think we see Aradia, last time we saw them, they were very contemplative and just spoke a lot. But this time we see them at their element because orcs were made to wage war. And specifically the Aradia is wielding their junk cannon, which is literally just a cannon. Maybe there are some modifications there, but they're just wielding it kind of one-handed, and its ammo are orc weapons. So right now inside that cannon is a flail, so that should be fun for whoever gets the brunt of that.
Okay, so why don't we flash back a bit, and why don't we tell everyone what Aradia has been doing on the meantime?
All right. This means I have to read out this love letter that I got, which isn't literal. I don't think Aradia has any. Well, that's a different story. I don't know if. Okay, all right. I'll just read this letter. So, while the others are trying to reach the land of the Azure Dwarves, you mediated the anxieties of the Leaf Orcs, as well as meeting their creator cousins, the Wood Orcs. As you learned that the Azure Dwarves have been assisting the Wood Orcs in the creation of a new type of orc, roll plus wisdom. And my wisdom is quite good. So hopefully this will work out. Wow, that did not. I got a 6. Oops. So on a 6 minus, I'll pick one from the first and 2 from the second. The first is a nice list from the Wood Orcs. The second is from the Overlord. So the Wood Orcs. Let's see. These are very good. I think given that the Overlord is about to like have a few advantages because of this misroll, I'm going to ask that the Wood Orcs inform me of other plans of the Overlord. And yeah, so 1 from that list and 2 for the Overlord. Oh man. All right. I think the Overlord is looking for where they took the halflings, and since we're in part 3 of a 6-part series, I'm gonna say the Overlord is also here.
All right. So that is what has been happening, and we see the troops retreating, and we see the Fellowship together. And Aradia, you been told by your wood cousins that the Overlord, she has been using a lot of distractions to cover up for her true goals. She's actually diverting forces to 2 fronts. One is to seize the source of power of the sanctuary, the city on the coast that welcomes everyone, and that is a bastion of the orphans, and where the surviving members of the Fellowship army are now. So that's one of their goals. The other is to destroy all the orcs in the mountain for some reason. And you know that all the Wood Orcs preparing for that, but it was too late. And you are charging back to the mountains, and you were making this desperate attack because you're leading all the Wood Orcs that evacuated from their homeland. Because Sikandari Megas is here, and she has landed there with an army, and she's occupying it. So at least you have the unexpected surprise of finding that the Fellowship is safe, and you are now reunited with them.
Yeah, I think Radia's not the type to quip like, "Hey, how's it going?" I think you just see all this. It's kind of like, well, this seems terribly desperate.
And you have the entire Wood Orc population in tow.
Yes, well, we thought we were running from Calamity, but Calamity seems to be everywhere.
Well, we were hoping to go and find them anyway, so come on in.
What's the situation over here looking like?
Excellent. There's a very powerful wizard in there who knows we're here, and the population is being controlled, and there's a big gate that they can bring their entire army through with. So all under control, mostly. We have a plan.
Pray tell, what is this plan?
So it's something involving rocks, totems, magical things, and we're going to smash them.
Well, that sounds terribly straightforward. And what are we waiting for?
Waiting for you and your orcs.
Well,
There's
we're
lots
here
of
now.
rocks. We need to smash all of them at the same time, I believe, is part of the plan.
Well, as much as I would prefer my brethren to have less bloodshed be visited upon them, these are dire straits, and their aid will be welcome. After all, we orcs were made to smash. But we're here now.
I wonder, should we try and lock this gate to stop the other army from getting in while we deal with the army on the inside?
I'd say reinforce this gate as much as you can. She's here. Hamfast. She's on her way.
Pellis, do you still have your tunnel squishing thing?
Tunnel squishing thing.
Yes, I'm sure you had some sort of magical thing last time that you squished a tunnel with.
It was actually Sebastian that had. It belonged
that's
to
right.
Palace, but it was Sebastian that conveniently had it there.
Is it a one-use tunnel squasher or is it a multi-use tunnel squasher?
It's a one-use.
Oh.
Yeah. But Palace, you know very well every single resource that the Overlord's armies have. What could she have used to make an airborne attack? Because you are covering land very well, she had to come by air. What could she have used to do that?
They actually have mages that specialize in taking regular like birds of prey and making them gigantic. So very likely would have either flown down on probably owls.
So that requires both dealing with suddenly enlarged raptors and magic. So what are the limitations of these bird assault force and that restrict her use of it?
I mean, generally they're good for transportation. They're not particularly good in like a fight or something. They'll get you someplace, but they're not going to help with the fight.
And they probably cannot let you bring much of a force. So it seems that she might be here now, but her capacity to influence the region is still limited until she gets reinforcements. So it seems that you can go directly to her now and try to push her back, or you can stop her gate. So I think I'm going to ask this from Mishmish. You see that there are people among the Wood Orcs that don't seem like the sort, and they are a lot of dwarves. They seem to be of a different breed of the engineers that you found in the tunnel. They seem more well-groomed and more built for combat than others. And one of them you recognize as what must be one of the kings in exile, of Sephiria, you can see a fairy around them, as well as some sort of gift granted by the fairies. What is that you see?
There's probably a very old fairy around him that helps in that part of the world. And the gift, he probably has a very small little bag that has some sort of magical dust that does something, but I'm not sure what. But it's supposed to help him.
A clarification. So, Hamfast. Yes. Supposed to help, but not that helpful for long term. So, Hamfast, what is happening to the halflings in the middle of this?
I guess they're still in the tunnels, aren't they? I forgot about them. I think they're just sort of in their usual kind of defensive position with like kind of the stronger out on the edge, and the sort of the old and the children sort of in the middle of the circle, kind of trying to stay out of the way in a dark, shadowy tunnel somewhere. But they probably wouldn't be sort of trying to join the fight or anything.
Okay, so it seems that between halflings at the distance, the Fellowship reunited, the dwarves pushed out of their homeland, and all the orcs that made to safety. It's time for the Fellowship to plan their next action. But before that, so Aradia, why don't you describe how Aradia stands out from the Wood Orcs? What is so different between her and the Wood Orcs?
Well, the main thing is she's not made of wood. I've described them as like a weird mix of rust and metal and marble. So I think the base of their form is a marble statue for sure, but clearly one that's been patched over and repaired over time with which like ungainly sheets of metal kind of stamped on their chest, and the hands are like a mismatch of rusted rivets and steel, and it's messy. Like patches of her body are kind of messy, but their head is like still like clear, maybe a bit dirty and scuffed, but it's still like pure marble. Well, except for also the big crack on the side of their head, which has been glowing faintly throughout this as certain people get closer. I think that's what she stands out like physically, anyway.
Okay. And what will happen now?
So I think we should take advantage of the fact that the Overlord hasn't arrived yet, and just all rush in and push the totem things over, and hope that destroys the gate. I think we may need to evacuate people. I think we talked about evacuation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they'll be fine.
Well, we need to consider where we evacuate these people to. But it seems we're trapped here unless the gate is open.
You are not exactly trapped.
Okay.
Because there you know through the information that you got from the spirit of the forest, of the mountain, you know the deep tunnels that can get you around the range. So you can try to continue to brave the mountain range tunnels on your own and just leave this mess behind. That's always an option. You achieved that. You got the resources to try that.
It's not very
Yeah,
heroic, is it?
it isn't about heroism. This is about surviving for the next fight. We're now caught between a general and the Overlord herself, with all these people to look after. We're not really in a position to do anything but survive.
Destroying that gate is one of the things that'll save them. If we end up doing something unheroic to do that in the future when their children are still alive, or when other people's children are still alive, they'll thank us for doing what's right and not doing the thing that makes us look better in the history books.
Also, we had a few dwarves with us. We could send them to do the evacuation as we do destroying.
Maybe have them take the younglings and the elderly as well, and hide them in a deep passage somewhere.
While we light a big fire, make the biggest noise, and make sure the Overlord's armies are on us.
And try and destroy the gate at the same time. I imagine if we start destroying these totem things, they'll probably notice that we're there and attack us. Yay.
Okay, so let's damage the dwarf engineers that you got last session. Let's damage one of their stats. So they're gonna go around and trying to use their knowledge of the town to get as many people to evacuate as you go on with your operation, so you don't have to worry about that as you fight it. And Pelas, as this is happening and you're getting close to the city, you can sense Vivi, and you can sense her going around the perimeter. So you get an idea based on what Mish reported and the plans that you've got, that she's currently doing an inspection of the totems.
If they were doing this, if I were to attack Vivi, like power-wise, where do we stand?
Well, she's a threat against the world, so you always need to pay a price to attack her. And because she's a threat against the world, you cannot use the do not trifle with wizards move. But other than that, you are pretty much toe to toe, because she has 4 attributes. So she has 4 stats. Let me tell you. So she has mage armor, so she can only be hurt from magic. So actually, you are not in an advantage with her. She has no sense of right and wrong, so she always deals a lot of collateral damage. She has kaboom, so she deals a lot of damage as a hard cut. So damage that you probably will not have a chance to react to prevent. And of course, she has the most dangerous one, which is a threat against the world. So she's very offensive, and as long as you accept that we're gonna get hurt, you can take her down.
I could handle her. It would be easy. A little bit of dust, and she's done.
That sounds like something a hero would say.
But we're also aware that the Overlord is near.
You cannot feel the Overlord. So she's probably fat enough that you cannot sense her, and she's not on the move, so she's not approaching. If what the Wood Orcs have reported is true, then she's still holding her position and is not going into the tunnels. Which makes sense. If you don't know what is happening, you're not going to send your limited forces into dark tunnels that you have no idea what is happening. So she's probably waiting for Vivi to give a report before she advances.
I have a halfling way of dealing with Vivi. So we could recruit some small halflings and have them sort of hide around the town. And then the one furthest from Vivi attacks a totem. Hopefully she will notice that and sort of rush over. And that halfling goes and hides. And then a minute later, another halfling elsewhere in the city attacks totem and kind of leads her on a bit of a wild halfling chase. That should keep her distracted.
Okay, you have something to pay a price to do that.
So I could damage a stat.
Yes, you can damage one of your stats.
I think that would be what's talk? Talk sense is sense, I guess. If you kind of say that I kind of stand up and talk to the halflings and do this great speech about how they have to be courageous and put their lives on the line, etc., etc. And I'm so exhausted from this speech that my sense is damaged.
Yeah. So you turn to the halflings. They really don't want to fight. They don't want to be involved on this. They've been doing on this long trek exactly to avoid these things. And now they fear that they're going to be caught between two armies. But you go ahead and you speak for them and you start to go a bit reckless on your speech. You're not as aware of your environment and of the reaction of your people. A lot of the older ones, they just want to go. They want to risk to brave the tunnels. They want to try to outrace them. I mean, come on, whatever is on the tunnels cannot be worse than this, right? Right? But of course, as we know very well, young halflings, they cannot resist the allure of resistance and trying to bring down the Harbingers and their tyranny. And when you start going with this, they are all in. And without the odds, the other halflings, they resign themselves to wait for. And as the young halflings sneak around to implement your plan, you look at your cousin and you can see that they will blame you for anything that happens. So you have a distraction. With Bella's always aware where Vivi is, they know precisely at the moment in which the plan was set in motion and that it's going as planned. So you don't have to worry about Vivi now. What happens?
Is this where we start taking out the gate?
So you're going directly for the gate, not for the totems.
It's first totems and then gate.
Well, yeah, I thought the totems were how we destroy the gate.
Yeah. I thought the totems hold back the magic, and once we destroy those,
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So, fellas, considering that you talked with the great spirit of the Blue Mountains, how you realize as you approach the totems that you cannot sense the spirit anymore.
I literally feel the connection just sort of break.
So you have this totem there and it's humming with energy. And the thing about these massive surges of power is that they always leave an impression. And the orcs have lived here as long as the dwarves. So Aradia, as you see these massive stone pillars inscribed with runes humming and apparently dampening the very magic around them, you are reminded of some ancient stories that you have heard about the orcs and their creation.
Yeah. I think what reminded Aradia specifically are the runes, because back when they were young, for a relative definition of young, some of the oldest orcs had those same runes. And just like, but not like all around them, but like some of them would have like maybe a gauntlet inscribed with some of those runes. And they say they've been around since the dawn of orc kind, I guess. And the story Aradia remembers is the story of the story of the Fell Knight, an ancient powerful orc created from what they now recognize to be like these same totems, like shaped not from nature, not from like stone or wood or leaf or rock or marble, but shaped from magic. And it was so powerful that it could only be encased in a body of magic dampening, nature, like this totem. And it was a beast, this Fell Knight, that was so like unstoppable because no magic could pierce its skin, and because it used magic as fuel, it could never tire and had tremendous strength that it couldn't be defeated. It had to be banished. Falling, it had to be banished in this great trap where it fell through dimensions. So, but it's been so long, it's now a boogeyman it's a boogeyman story to the orcs. Don't eat your orc jerky, or the Fell Knight will come for you. That sort of thing.
So as the fellowship careful studies it, they realize that the totems, they have some quite quirky stats. First of all, they are charged by power unlimited. So until this stat is damaged, they cannot, they are dwarf made, so they are nearly indestructible. And not only that, they are keeping something not of this world, which means that if you damage this stat, something from out of this dimension is released. And lastly, their third stat is mesmerizing runes. So anyone that has sense damage cannot attack them. So to destroy them, you need to address these three stats. The one that makes them invulnerable, the one that is keeping something not of this dimension, and the one that does not let them be affected by people that have damaged sense.
That sounds like a bad idea now. Is there any way to trace sort of what the source of the power is?
Yeah. How about you look closely, which you cannot because you have damage sense. Because when you look at the runes, they just cloud your mind. And now you even see them when you close your eyes. And they seem to become more and more meaningless. Someone else can do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I do it since I vaguely recognize those runes from.
Yeah. Are you doing it with someone else?
If what do you mean someone else? Like with someone in the party or just another person?
Someone that you have a bond with.
Yeah, I think. Well, since Hamfast seems utterly befuddled, I would probably turn to Pelas and say and ask for his expertise.
I'm yours. What do you need me to do?
These runes on this totem, they're laced in the history of orcs. I hope with your learnings you can provide context for them.
What can I tell about the runes?
Well, you can tell that they are pretty traditional Harbinger magic. You don't see the connection to the orcs, really. I mean, you assume that they are powerful, but you already knew that. You saw the plans, you saw how many of them are needed to contain something as powerful as the spirit of the Blue Mountain. You see them, yeah, it's a lot of power, but it's Harbinger power. What is this about the orcs?
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about orcs on here. I explained how it fits in with the power of the mountain.
Well, when that fits in with certain stories of the orcs, that's. If we had time, I'd tell you how utterly disturbing that is in regards to my people's history, but we simply do not have the time, do we? Yeah, so like, can I just like look closely at this?
Yeah, look closely, and you're rolling with hope.
Oh, cool. What? Okay, 3 dice. Okay, cool. That's what that does. Okay. Yeah, I think part of that hope is like kind of like Pelas is telling me what's basic information for him, but he's helping me like put together certain facts about what happened with the orcs. Let me just generate another die. Wow, that's a 7.
Okay, you ask 3 questions, but you're gonna find one the hard way.
Oh God. Is something hidden or out of place? If so, what looks suspicious?
You realize that there's something, a wheel. You can sense that there is a purpose, that, yeah, the Arbingers are using this, but they are recycling something else. And that's something that they are recycling. It's not dead. It's alive. It has a purpose. You get a feeling that these pillars, they might look like stone now, but they were a creature. And you can feel that all of them are in some way the part of the same creature. And that's what allows them to operate in unison.
Ah, oh, that's creepy. So what is? So tell me about this creature. What are they doing? What will they do next?
You realize that these creatures are orcs from another dimension. And these seem to be some kind of titanic primal orc separated into different parts, and it's trying to reunite itself back together. And the Harbinger, Harbinger magic is keeping it apart, but also linked for another purpose beyond that. And that conflict, that battle between thesis and antithesis, this is what is synthesizing this weird magic dampening field.
Oh.
How
Okay.
big are they? Can we move those things?
They're around, I would say, 3 meters, but I would say it's not impossible to move. Well, maybe not Mish, but yes.
Yeah, I can probably move them. But yeah. What will happen if I move them? There we go.
If you move them, you can actually damage them. And by damage, I mean you can remove some of the 3 stats that they have.
Yeah, I think what this looks like when I'm looking closely is I'm kind of like running my hands, kind of not touching it, but like just over it, and I can feel that kinship, and realize, and I think I just kind of say out loud, this is no totem. This is a thing. This is a creature. This is a creature like me. I think I kind of turn to the fellowship and say, like, this is one of many parts of the same creature, of the same orc.
The totem is made up of a living being.
Yes, a living being like me.
If we bring them together, will it be able to combine?
Mm-hmm.
It would be better. It would be better than what they are now, which is a trinket to dampen magic. It will be far better. We need to start moving them.
Are you sure it will be friendly? It's very large.
In my experience, very few things like to be dismantled and used as a stationary totem.
So it may be angry when it comes back together and squash us.
It does. Hamfast, it doesn't matter if it's angry or aggrieved or sad. By any rights, it has a right to be angry, given what's done to it. What matters is that we bring this injustice, this atrocity, to an end. And yes, we do this. We'll strike a blow to the Overlord, whatever. But freeing this creature is. If we were not brought together to bring freedom to others, then what were we brought together to do?
I think it's mentioned that it's magic which is sort of keeping them apart. So would it be possible to sort of stop that magic and they just kind of click together instead of us having to shift every one of them?
I mean, yeah, that's how moving them damage the pillars, by disrupting that magic.
So they discuss it. I will look around and I'll use my keen senses to ask one question that must be answered truthfully. Is there an easy way to move them closer to each other? Are they like on some sort of thing that moves, or are they actually closer to each other, above each other, or something like that? Just break a hole in the floor or something?
you look around, and because you have both the advantage of being closer to the ground and being able to get an airborne perspective, and you notice trails. Because you know that dwarves, they are clever enough to be lazy, so they manage to dig a lot of tracks when moving back the pillars in place. So you get to feel that they have just put the things on these tracks and just slowed them into sight along those tracks. So you can use the work that the dwarves already did to set this up to just move them somewhere else.
Okay. So I fly back and I say to you guys like, there's a really easy way to move them. We can just follow back in the way they were brought. They didn't really change anything after bringing them. I don't think they expected us to attack. I don't think they expected anything. Or maybe they didn't care. Yeah, we should just start doing.
That should be enough to disrupt the magic and end this.
And then the spirit of the mountain could return here and boom! I assume there will be a big boom.
We'll get an ending of some sort.
Or a beginning. But yeah, we'll see. So
Okay,
let's move it.
why don't we take 5 minutes break? Even because Michael had to leave now. Okay, so see you in 5. Michael, are you with us? Okay. So let me run this by you again. So you want to move them closer. That's it.
To each other.
Yeah, that should be enough to like disrupt at least some of the magic, right? And damage some of their stats.
Yeah. So you coordinate your efforts, and because of the advantage that Mishmish got, you just slide them across the rails, and soon enough you get 3 of the totems together in a line, and you can feel the atmosphere change, and you know that the entire power of the Harbingers is breaking, and the runes start to blink until some of them start to die one by one. So, which step do you manage to hurt?
Remind me the 3 stats again.
So, one gives them Dwarf Forged, so makes them near invulnerable. The other of them makes them that they cannot be affected by someone with damage sense, and the other one, once it's damaged, is going to summon something, which you now know that it's this Wood Orc that is split among the 36 totems.
Well, opens up the table. Which one? Which one do you think we should damage?
The one that allows us to damage it. The one that are unbreakable. Let's get rid of that.
Although, I mean, if we want to save the creature, which is a very wise choice, then we could summon it. Because if we start breaking it, it will kind of be summoned with a leg missing or something. Which might be a good idea.
Hello, Michael.
Everything fine?
Yeah, I don't think he hears us.
But can you hear us? Okay. So basically, we are discussing which of the stats to damage, either to remove the invulnerability, to damage the one that once damaged it summons the Wood Orc, or the one that prevents it from being affected by people with the damage sense.
Go ahead and decide. Let me try to get this thing fixed here real quick.
Okay, so we have a kind of dilemma now. It's either between the one that gives it dwarf made, or the one that summons the half orc, the Urarch. So which one will it be?
If we summon it and without making it breakable, and he attacks us, that might prove to be problematic.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think.
Then again, if he attacks them for putting him like that without being breakable, that would be great. So it could go both ways.
Yeah, maybe like if it summons, we can like convince it to like look, we didn't do this to you. It's the Harbingers, and there's one over there being harassed by those halflings.
I do worry that it might notice that we have a harbinger in our party and say, "Oh, there's one there."
There is that as well.
Yeah.
Maybe
Absolutely.
we'll take the least harmful one and just damage the one that lets it not be affected by those who have a damage sense. Worry about the other two later.
Then again, it can be damaged. So it doesn't really matter what stat we're gonna use.
Yeah.
Hard to damage, not can't be. But do we even want to damage it? I mean, it's a living person.
For now. Maybe
If
we
we're able to-
summon it and talk to it. We can try and talk to it at that point.
Yeah,
We're able to
that's
put
why-
it back together without damaging it. Is that possible?
Well, okay.
Summon.
The thing is, you can put him together without damaging him. The thing is, you need to damage the magic that is keeping him apart. So that part needs to be dealt with. So you can do it without damage to the creature, but there's no way around disrupting the magic. That cannot be there because that is keeping them separated.
Yeah. I'd vote summon and deal with the fallout afterwards.
Yeah, so
I
when
agree.
it's... Oh, go on.
I'm just saying I agree.
I think we are getting a consensus. So,
Yeah.
What's the worst that could
this
happen?
is going to be very important in a few moments. So, you do that, and the lights start blinking, and you can feel, even if the magic is still there, the life is not. And there's like a shadow falling over you. Weird because you are underground, but it's almost as if it's the middle of the day and something massive covered the sun. And you can see an ethereal force slowly manifesting. Now, what you did so far is the equivalent of making a tiny needle hole in a dam. It's enough to tickle some water, but it's not enough to break the dam. But just that is enough that Palace immediately feels the connection back to the spirit of the Blue Mountain. And he can just feel how much grateful the spirit is, how much the spirit feels like itself again. And the spirit is ever grateful. Palace, you gain a bound with the spirit, and his stats are Telluric Superpower and Wisdom of the Ages. And now you can damage these stats to get the assistance of the Spirit of the Blue Mountain. And now the shadow of the orc is manifesting more and more and more. So, why don't Aradia tell us what does a kaiju orc looks like?
Oh, man. Let's see. So...
It's small.
yeah, it's big comparable to Mimish. No. We a kaiju was asked for, and a kaiju you shall receive. Okay, maybe not too ludicrous. Maybe like not Godzilla size, but not King Kong, but in the middle. I think this is definitely... Actually, let's make it like about equivalent of like a 10-story tall. Oh yeah, you're in a tunnel, but it's big. That's the thing. This shadow is like comparable to anything else in this world. It might as well be a mountain standing up. It's immense, and it's like this humanoid shape for sure. But it's only humanoid in the most abstract of sense. Arms, legs, fingers. It has this kind of like flat, sort of sharp face. It looks like a helm, I guess. Its face, but the thing about its skin is like there's no like imperfections. It looked like it was sculpted out of just this dark maroon clay as it kind of stands up. And I think it generates this atmosphere of like just gravity. Not like literal gravity, but like just all eyes draw upon it because it's a spectacle. Like it's spectacle shaped into a man.
So your orc looks down to you and it speaks, but the words vanish as if there is some counter gravity pushing the very words itself, and you can hear the meaning of the words disappearing as it rejoins the gate, as the gate slowly activated, and then you cannot make out the sound of the scream, but you can feel the pain as the molecules of the air around your ears vibrates with the burden of 1,000 enslaved dimensions. And you can feel the pain and suffering of the creature as the gate itself seeks to absorb it as it power soars. What do you do?
I think I will fly up to its ear and try to talk closer.
Okay, so why don't you talk sense?
Sure. Basically, hey, we just broke you free, but there's still more to do. If you help us, you'll be completely free. And I guess I will roll with sense, right?
Let's see which one of them applies the most.
Yeah, detail your plan and replace it if appeal to their emotion or desire. I guess I did them all, but well, the first two. If you want to be free, you will have to help us to free you.
Okay, I would say that is mostly wisdom, and I hope that is good for you.
I try to aim at wisdom. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that's never good. That would be a 6.
Okay, so let's see the choices. They cannot do as you ask and will tell you why, or the favors you must do to them is expensive, difficult, or demeaning. Oh, yes. It lashes out in pain, almost trying to swat Mish, but Mish evades through their fairy agility. And through the pain, they can see it trying to reach out for the pillars, but he seems to be unable to touch them. And you can see his enraged eyes the size of suns in the high noon. They plead to you to destroy them because he cannot.
So just to clarify, we didn't get all the totems. We got like 3 of them. That's what summoned this thing, right?
Well, you moved them. Yeah.
Moved them, yeah.
So you disrupted the magic, so you are slowly getting the spirit of the Blue Mountain back into the region. It's still not the dam breaking that you were expecting, that you want to fully blow up the gate. So you can either move more of them or start breaking them.
Yeah, and the thing is, the rest of them are probably the ones that ham-fast halflings are using to distract Vivi, right?
Probably.
Well, there are 36 of them.
Ah,
So,
There's plenty.
oh, there's plenty. Okay, cool. All right, we don't have to run into Vivi. Okay.
I feel like Vivi's probably noticed the 10-story high monster that just
Yeah.
appeared as well.
you know, when it has a certain sense of gravity that seems to attract the attention of everyone.
Oh man, why did I include that detail?
I told you to make it tiny.
Okay, all right. I think yeah, I think all right. You can turn to the other two because Mishmish is over there, and just says, "Well, we know what we have to do. We have to keep moving them. We have to keep moving more. Just disrupt all of this." I think you can tell Aradia is actually quite frantic looking. If Marble can look frantic.
Can we see if Vivi is sort of heading in our direction or anything?
Well, if you're gonna, okay. First of all, you have the advantage because of all the information that you get, and because you've read him, and he is more at least neutral to you. You have advantage on dealing with him. And now you see Vivi. Vivi is taking to the sky, and with her gargoyle at her side, she's going to face down against the Wood Orc, and she starts spewing some cold flames at him, and you can immediately see the collateral damage as the fire bounces off the side of the Wood Orc and land on the buildings around. So it seems that she's fighting it, not able to damage him, but all the damage is going to the city instead. You're gonna have a conflagration of fire if this fight continues. Of her weird fire that Mish had the unfortunate experience with.
No, isn't she fighting where Mishmish is nearby?
No, Mish. I'm assuming Mish came back with what she learned.
Yeah, eventually. Guys, we should ignore her and just keep going. I mean, we're gonna blow the whole place up anyway, so the damage we're gonna cause as a side thing is meaningless. I assume. I like assuming.
Yeah, I think Aradia nods at that. Their concern is to help the creature. City be damned, to be honest.
Yep, let's push some rocks.
So how do you do it? How do you push them?
I'll do the pushing.
Okay, so why don't you pay a price to do this pushing? Because I think you probably are not only trying to push, you're trying to do it fast, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to do as quickly as I can. What do you do to pay a price?
Just you damage a stat, either of you or a companion, or you use some gear.
Okay, let me look at my gear. Yeah, my orcish weapons don't count for gear because I can just make more of them. Let's see. I think I'll just damage a stat. I think Aradia certainly kind of letting more primal instincts take over as they're desperate to free this creature from this enslavement. Which stat would that be? I mean, it could be wisdom. Yeah, they're not acting wise at the moment. I'd say wisdom. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't want to make it easier on myself by damaging the -1 stat. That's fine. Yeah, I'll damage wisdom. I don't think Aradia is never graceful, but they're not thinking straight as they're pushing all these. Cool.
So Arad is drawing back into the primal functions of the orc, becoming less of the person that she forged herself to be and more what she was built to be.
Yeah, but in the service of freeing another, so it's a bit complicated because one of the things I chose is Daughters of Chaos, which are people are born free, and this is what she's trying to do. But yeah, they're letting their instincts take over in service of that.
Yeah. And she's taking this great personal sacrifice for that. And as things slowly lock into position, you get to damage another stat. Which of the other two will be?
The damage sense one? That makes sense here? Because I don't think moving them gets rid of they're made of dwarven stuff, therefore they're indestructible. At least in fiction.
So the runes stop blinking. They are not permeated with magic anymore. They are instead just runes carved in stone. That's what they are. And Hamfast finally gets rid of that terrible headache and is able to take a very good look at the nearest pillar. And he recognizes that. It's halfling text. What is that halfling text? How does he know that and what he's doing there?
So it's what the writing is halfling writing.
Yeah, ancient halfling writing. The type that barely any halflings uses anymore.
I think you probably, he can kind of read it a little bit, but he doesn't use it sort of day to day, so not that well. But he recognizes this sort of old epic story. It's like a poem of the halflings, which talks about sort of how they were created and where they came from and where they went and stuff. Whether or not it's sort of real or not, he's not sure, but it's sort of the oldest piece of writing that the halflings have. It's like pages and pages of poetry. And this particular section is talking about how the halflings were created out of sort of this mud from the bottom of the sea by this great god, and was painted with various sigils and things, and then kind of got life. That's sort of their creation myth.
So, what you do to figure out why that is there? Why, of all places, it's there as part of a spell binding this Wood Orc?
I wonder if I kind of shout in rough ancient halfling. I will shout up at the creature, "Hello, can you understand me?" and see if it responds or not.
It does not seem to be responding to that. I mean, either your elder halfling is more rested than you think, or it seems that it's not for communication with the creature. Now, Pellas, we know that Harbingers are not only masters of magic and the great hegemons of the world, we also know that they are one of the richest and most famous cultures whose artistic achievements are the envy of everyone. But there's a bit of magic on everything that the Harbingers do. What is the connection that the Harbingers have between magic and poetry, especially epic poetry?
Epic poems themselves are often partly the magic spell, that's in there. Like there's rhythms and other such hidden in there that will affect emotion as it's being read, if it's being read correctly.
So, Palace, you can see that something is upsetting Hamfast, and he's speaking on a weird tongue. And that this happens since the obfuscating lights vanish from the pillars. So you are very quick to make the correlation between the two of them.
Okay. At this point, we've got more important things to worry about, so I let it go right now. I'll deal with it later.
Okay. Okay. Why don't you roll me wisdom? Just raw wisdom.
Is that me or Palace?
Palace.
Seven total.
Okay. You look up and you see that the Wood seems to be blinking in and out of existence. And you see a very frustrated Vivi fighting him. And at some moment, Vivi listens to the words spoken by Hamfast, and she seems to be conflicted if she continues to fight or flies to engage with the Fellowship. How does the Fellowship react?
Vivi's considering coming our way. We may want to either attack or flee.
Can we take her?
I think attacking is the better option.
Together we could. Or we can just slow her down if we really want to.
Is the creature sort of fighting back against her, or is it just kind of standing there taking her attacks?
I mean, you can engage with her. I mean, with a ranged attack of any sort, we'll get to her.
But the creature's not attacking her at the moment.
Well, they are kind of tussling. The creature is still a bit too immaterial to actually hurt her. Now, the other thing that you notice is that the power that is flowing in is actually significant, and the gates is starting to crack.
We're close to breaking down the gate. Perhaps if we do that, we can unleash the creature upon her, and we'll have a more significant advantage against her.
Let's concentrate on the gate then.
We can always split if we need to.
Okay, so what is your final action then to blow this whole thing out of proportion?
Let's shove a bunch of magic into it. Does anyone have the ability to shove a bunch of magic energy into this thing?
If I do the don't mess with wizards, would I be able to use it to finish cracking the gate?
Oh yes, but yeah, definitely. But because the crack only has even with this, you just crack everything, and in fact, you're probably gonna inflict an extra conditions on Vivi on the process. So that's definitely an option.
Okay. I gather up power, let it kind of rip through me, and then just unleash everything I've got at the gate.
And you can add to it from the spirit of the mountain if it's not enough, just yours.
Yes. So
If
now
you need.
you can damage yourself. You need only to damage one stat to actually get it to break. But you can pour more power into it if you damage yourself. So how much damage do you take from Do Not Trifle with Wizards?
Probably important enough right now to use all three.
The spirit can take one of those.
Okay, then I'll take two.
Yeah, so you damage either the Telluric superpower or Wisdom of the Ages. So you manage to both deal damage to the gates and to the totems. And how does it look when Arvinger gets the power of the mountain itself and the power within him?
Basically, a huge amount of a glow, and there's electricity sparkling all around me, and then it unleashes.
So it starts with the rippling effect. And you see the lights of the runes awaken again across the 36 pillars. And they start cracking more and more as the light becomes chained with the electricity coursing through them. And they all are conjoined in a single eternal ring. It does not as much as explode, it just dusts itself into nothingness. And it's almost as if they never existed. And everyone can feel it. Everyone can feel the vitality of the spirit going as the laws of reality establish themselves. A building nearby that was just being supported by magic just crumbles. And while some of the roads that seem to be twisted by the movements of the trails across the circle seem to unbend themselves and show themselves in the full splendor of dwarven engineering, there is this sense of relief as if countless gems encrusted in the top of the cavern shine with new life. And then the dam breaks. The gate is not so nice as just disappearing. It explodes completely. And there's this overwhelming sense of magic, as if a source of power itself is manifest. Everything around half a kilometer around it is pulverized. And there is this giant diamond in the middle of what it used to be, and then that diamond breaks into a wave of geodes, and all these restrained telluric manifestations can be seen everywhere as spears of earth fly against where Vivi used it to be, and with a despairing cry she's thrown into the ground as the earth itself seems to be obsessed with binding her. And she starts using her magic in all directions, trying to prevent from being grasped by the reaching tendrils of the angry spirit. And then you see the Wood Orc fully manifest, standing over the countless geodes and the broken shards of diamond. And it kneels in front of the fellowship. So, you have your orc manifested, and we have Vivi fighting the raw magic. What does the fellowship do?
I think I'll go up to the orc and just say, "You're free now."
I'll whisper at Aradia. I think he might be too big to get out through the tunnels. So maybe he's not quite free.
Let's give Hamfast this look like.
Let's step back again.
Let's. Does the orc say anything? Can it?
The orc seems to be understanding the basic ideas, but does not seem to be able to converse with you. There seems to be something odd about his presence here.
I think Hamfast, on a hunch, will pull out a little booklet that he has in his bag, which has this epic poem, and he'll try and read just a passage and see if there's any reaction.
No, the orc does not seem to react to that.
Isn't the Overlord's weakness stuff from outside our world?
Sorry, what?
Isn't the weakness of the Overlord stuff from outside our world? And I pointed at the giant orc.
Yes.
And we know that she's in that direction. And he wants to go out.
Yes.
He should break in that direction.
So after freeing him, you would throw him straight into uncertainty. Is that what you're proposing?
I don't think it will be uncertain.
That decision will be up to him.
Of course. And once he's out, I can, dust him a bit and he'll fly away. That would be something. But he has to get outside anyway.
Okay, I'm going to drop on the hidden power of the orcs. I got shaman skills, and I'm going to use seance. So what this does, if I can just scroll down and find the text. There. I'm gonna ask a single question about anything and immediately receive two answers. One is true, one is false. I don't know which is which. What does this orc want?
The orc wants to go back to its world.
Or
No, there's no R. The orc wants to go back to its world. What is the second question?
oh no, I ask one question and you give me two answers.
Oh,
One is true, one is false.
well, the false one is that,
No, you don't tell me which one is which.
well,
It might be a bit late for that, I assume.
yes. Okay, how about we do it this way? You know that the orc wants to go back to its world. But you know that one of the reasons is because the orc is aware that its presence here damages this world, and the other is because the orc is ahead of a nefarious force that is trying to break into this world, and is using the Overlord to do its work.
I think whichever answer Aradia would always say, orc should be free to do what an orc wants. I think that's what they say to the Fellowship. And yeah, turns to the three of them and say, like, look, this creature has been enslaved for who knows how long. Now that they're free, it's up to them whether they want to fight or they simply want to go home. And quite frankly, I don't think any of us will be able to tell it otherwise.
Yeah, but how do we send it home?
Like, I turn to Pellis there. And it's like, is there a way?
Is there? We just destroyed a gate.
Sorry?
Is there a way to send him home? We just destroyed the gate.
Why don't you tell us? You are the ultimate authority in dimensional magic.
Unfortunately, there's no way to send him home. At this point, we would need the power of the Overlord.
So if he meets the Overlord might decide to use his magic to send him home. Because it will be a problem for him to fight this giant thing from another world. Do you think, giant orc? Do you want to fight out, or do you want to find another way?
The creature seems to be reluctant, but if you put it like that, it seems to be resigned to its fate.
It's not so wrong a fate. We could give a hint to the Overlord that that's the only way he can defeat it, by sending it to its own world, and that will be a quick fight.
I don't think the Overlord became the Overlord by succumbing to very obvious hints like that from their enemies. No, it's a gamble. Either the Overlord tries to defeat it by sending it home, or just tries to kill it.
I don't know if the Overlord can kill it, because it's from another world, and that's its weakness. So, like, there's every reason for the Overlord to actually listen to us. In this case.
You don't win against the Overlord by underestimating her. If she falls for tricks like that, then we wouldn't be in this mess. But it doesn't look like there's much of a choice. I think that, I'll turn to the orc, the big one, the big boy, and just ask, are you okay?
He groans, and then his head turns startled and rises.
Can we turn to word someone was looking?
Yeah, Vivi is coming, and she seems to have come with a solution to the power of being attacked by a source of raw elemental power by covering herself on a sphere of fire, using one element to fend up the other from every direction. And she seems to be in a mess of a condition in which her robes are tattered, her lip is swollen and bleeding, and she has a lot of 100 different cuts. And she turns to the Fellowship and says, "Oh, you done it. You done it. Pellis, you fool. It's not enough that you doomed yourself. You doomed me too. What do you think Circassus is going to do now after you done this? You got me killed."
This is from the giant orc?
No, this is from Vivi.
Oh, Vivi? Vivi, you got yourself killed.
She raises one hand, glowing with power. "I'm gonna do you the mercy that you did not grant me. You did not talk to me if there is another way, but I'm telling you, come with me, and nobody on the Fellowship has to get hurt.
Question. I don't know if this would work. I want to kind of make a hand gesture. So my gargoyle is a tricksy thief. Would my gargoyle possibly be able to rip out Vivi's throat?
I mean, you can damage her. That's for sure. So you can pay a price to have it damage Vivi. So just, do you have anything that might represent the gargoyle? Yeah,
the gargoyle's the rock skin.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah. So your gargoyle sneaks in and it goes directly through the fire and straight to Vivi's throat. And you can see the blood coming. And at the last moment, your gargoyle is pulled away from Vivi's throat from her own gargoyle. And the two gargoyles start fighting, rolling in the blood. And you can see the shielding of magic that she had is fainting away. And she's using her magical defenses to prevent her body from dying. And you know that her mage armor is hurt. So she can no longer be immune to attacks that are not magic. So her mage armor stat is damage.
So can I shoot her with my cannon?
Oh yeah, now you can shoot her. That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point. She's using her defensive magic to stay alive. Now she cannot deflect the attacks. Yeah. So that is already hurt.
Nice. So yeah, I think I already unslung like the cannon from her back. I think loaded in there is one of her orc weapons. It's gonna make this like a sickle. It's stuffed uncannily. The sickle, I think, the point of cannon size just says Harbingers, and kind of lights it with like a flick of their metal finger, and try to shoot her in the face. Is that a specific role I have to?
Basically, that's a finish. Them. The thing is, you need to. So basically, you are using your advantage that you have, that you got from the attack of the gargoyle. So you are using that advantage. You are also attacking a threat against the world. So you also need to pay a price.
Okay. I just looked, and I apparently, when I must pay a price, I can always choose to break a weapon. Let's see. I've shot one, so I have 3 left. So I think I will probably break, and I'll break another one of those weapons. Just say I didn't have any of that. So I'm down to 2 orc weapons. That's my price paid. I am totally trying to kill them.
Okay, so time to roll blood.
Hey! Okay. And that's with advantage, right? Because okay. Just make sure. 6. Oh, 4. Oh, that's an 8.
Okay, so you deal damage to them and lose your advantage.
Okay.
So you damage her and she loses her kaboom. So she can no longer just directly deal damage to you. Her magic is vanishing away. I mean, you level the place where she is with a cannon, and she rises from that covered in fire. And she just say, enough! And she raises her hands, and you can sense the the flow of the energy that is being replicated with the gate. I am done with you. And she creates this massive gate into the middle of the air that is pulling everything. And Pelas, you know that is not a proper gate. You cannot do, a mage cannot do a gate of that side or manipulate it that fast. There's just no way. This is just a reckless opening of something where she does not care if where it goes or if it makes that intact. She's just releasing the raw magic against you. So let's take a 5 minutes break and see how that goes. So we are back, and Vivi is unleashing this raw magic and using it to allow understanding access of foreign energies to this world. And everything seems to be pulled in. Nearby buildings, some of the troops of the Overlord, and even you start to feel the pull. And the Wood Orc throws itself on top of you, and as he's bridging over you, you can feel him resisting as it allows you time to react. To look away to the distance, and you can see the halflings, the Wood Orcs, and the dwarves of the city as they look down as the city is slowly destroyed, both by the gate, by the orc, by Vivi, and now for her reckless attack. She is casting a spell that is going to create a lot of necrotic damage over the area. So, how do you react to her attempt?
Guys, if she's unconscious, can she keep it going?
Guessing probably not. I could lash out. I've got the tattoo magic.
And if she's unconscious, can you finish her quickly?
Should be able to.
Then I know what I can do. I can easily put her back to sleep. Put her to sleep. And she will be unconscious. That would be quick.
Do you think you can put her to sleep before she finishes casting?
I can try.
Will it
Okay.
help if I go after her with my rune sword?
How about this? So if you go with your rune sword to distract her, you are working together. So you're gonna be doing a keep them busy with hope. So to see how well do you manage to actually stop her before she unleashes her magic.
Which move again?
Keep them busy.
Oh, so that's what you roll. Palace.
No, you roll because you are the one that are actually doing it. Palace is giving you hope.
I see.
Yeah.
So that's 3 dice. Okay. If I get to her, obviously I'll do the pixie dust. The sleep tight, actually. Let's see. Let's roll. Four, 5, and hope. Oh, plus what? Plus courage. Ugh. So that's a 9.
Okay. First of all, you need something a bit more. And you need to pay the price to even get close. Because as soon as you are away from the protection of the Wood Orc, you start to get the pull. And once you are free of the pull, you start to get her flames. So you have to pay a price even before this gets to work. And the good thing is because you are using the assistance of someone, Palace can also pay the price.
I can use my wizardly baubles, like basically to help bring the flame back.
Yeah, so you just vanish the flame just precisely where the little fairy needs to go through, and you make through. So you get a 9. So they will retaliate against you. But you are managed to buy the time, and you manage to get close. So you are going to use your pixie dust.
sleep tight. Yeah.
So you do that,
Yeah, you put someone straight to sleep. It's a normal sleep, and they are woken by anything that would awaken a sleeping person. So let's see how well it goes.
So you do that, and as soon as it starts to take effect, the flames fade away, the raw magic fades away, and it turns to you, and for a moment it seems able to see you, and it snatches you out of the air and starts crushing you. Take 1 damage.
Damage is just marking a stat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna mark wisdom because what I did was certainly not wise.
And finally, she falls down in a lump, and slowly her fingers relax enough that you're able to sleep away.
Who's gonna take the finishing? There I go.
Yeah, I then would basically just do what I could to chop off her head.
So when I finish them with blood.
With what?
Blood.
Is that a stat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. If it's damage, what does that mean?
I'll finish them are damage. But
No.
damage. Okay, that means you roll with despair. So you roll 3 dice and you keep the 2 worst.
4.
Okay, so the situation seems to have calmed down, and you get close. You have the upper hand. You have the advantage. She's vulnerable there. You can kill her. And as you prepare to execute her, you open yourself to a side attack by one of her troops. And a regiment of soldiers of the Overlord, recruiting after the magic is over, rushes towards you and forces out of her before you were able to do that. And you can hear and Vivi wakes up, and for a moment it's not the insanely powerful minion, but it's a student looking up to her master wielding a run sword. This moment of vulnerability lasts only a few seconds before she rises angrily behind the troops. Well, is that it then?
Hamfast will try and get rid of the troops. So he would want to keep them busy by just sort of
you can try to keep the troops busy. Yes, the troops they have 2 stats. They have cover everywhere. So while this stat is not damage, anyone trying to get away from them needs to pay a price. And they are overpowering. So everyone that tries to act alone against them must pay a price first. So if you do that, you're gonna need to pay a price.
Does a pig count as a companion?
Yes. So you can damage the pig for them to do something. So what do you do?
Oh. So I would like to basically ride at them, and get real close, and sort of like charge at them, hit them with a spear, and then run off on my pig.
Okay, so damage one of the stats of the pig so that they do that, and then roll to keep them busy.
So I have wild charge on my pig, so I will damage that. Oh no. Um, 6.
You stumble with the troops, and they fumble around, and they seem to be well disciplined in information, and you seem to break through them with the initial charge, but they quickly split in two groups and surround again Vivi. One flank turned to you and another flank turned to Palace. He just seems exhausted. This is not how I expected being the court magician to be. Tell me, Palace, was it the same when it was you on my position?
Until I open my eyes, yes.
I guess I understand more why you will run away from that, if this is what it is like. Well, Safiri is useless to her purpose anymore. We have no gate. We have no dwarves. So what do you want?
Folks, do we just want them to surrender to us or get the hell out of here or what?
Surrender is better, but would they? Would they surrender?
I think I already will speak that out loud. If we asked for you to surrender, would you?
You know I cannot do that, but I also don't have to fight you either. I mean, it's not a strategically sound idea. Even Circandas will have to admit that. There's nothing to gain here by fighting you, is it? You also don't gain much by fighting me.
We gain the chance to kill you.
And what good will that do?
One less sycophant for the Overlord.
You know very well that Circandas wasn't no lack of people that will die for her.
I'll just have to kill whoever replaces you.
See, this is why I don't have much alternatives. One option is to serve someone that demands brutality. The other is to take a state of mind that leads to an empty world. That's why people need the Arbingers. That's why
This is the
Skander.
This is the problem with you and what she's put into your head. I think there's only two options. The third option is freedom. The third option is letting this world be what it's going to be without us having to guide every little bit of it. Obliteration or cruelty are not the only two options.
So, is that it? Tell me, Master, what lesson is a student to take from here? And she points to the halflings, to the dwarves, to the wood orcs, to Saphiria. The Azure kingdom of the dwarves is gone. The kingdom of the wood orcs is gone. The halflings, they are homeless. Is that the third option? Is that the freedom that you gave them?
They'll rebuild. and the ashes of the kingdom that we had created. Your problem is you only see how things are right now. You don't see a future, because that future has been taken away from you.
Oh, Palace. I am so proud. You spoke like a true harbinger.
I really want to shoot her in the face again.
Yeah, I mean, you need to create an advantage first.
Oh, I have a move where if I break a weapon, I don't need advantage to finish them.
Okay, so you can break a weapon and shoot her in the face.
Yeah.
Break your gun.
I'm not gonna break my gun. My gun is cool. I have 2 weapons. I can break one of them. Yeah. So I will just do that. But that means I don't have advantage. But I am still rolling to try and finish them.
Do you want advantage?
It would be nice, but I don't know.
I could already surprise her from the back while being invisible.
Yeah, no one has been paying attention to you this entire time.
Yeah, I was.
Okay, so you're gonna get hope, and again, she's a threat to the world. You need to pay the price. And again, because Miss is helping, Miss can pay the price instead of you.
I haven't paid any price. Oh, I have no wisdom, but I can drop blood. I'm not very bloody. Also,
Okay.
yeah, I paid the price this time.
Okay, so as she forgets again about the fairy and their magic properties of the fairies, that they just refuse to be acknowledged by the world. Everyone just refuses in believing in them. She creates the perfect distraction, even if it means getting caught in the path of your, let's just call it what it is, buccaneer. So guys, shoot her. So hope with blood. Let's get that 10 plus.
Ah,
Don't tell me you failed.
that's a 7. Actually, no.
Okay.
Okay, oh, she's running out of things to damage. So, actually, no.
Not one.
You damage her no sense of right and wrong. So, you remove completely her ability to act against you.
Ooh.
She's no longer any threat. She's no longer arrogant and delusional. She now realizes the truth of the things. And you shoot her down and she falls. And she, for a moment, looks at the fairy, as bloody as she is.
It doesn't have to be this way.
I know about your kind. And I never doubt Sikandar because she has one of you with her. And I know the stories. I know if someone has a fairy with them, they cannot be wrong. He must be doing what is best to the world. And if you are with them, you are doing the best to the world. What do you need?
What do we need?
Yeah, what do you need to make this right?
The fairy that went with her, with the Overlord, saw only the beginning, not where it is right now. We thought she would be a good thing for the world. I don't know why she is still with her. I don't know if she is still with her or if she is forced to still be with her. But as you can see, we sent others to fix the error, something we don't usually do. What do we need? We need to send him back home and to stop the Overlord. Can you help us with one of those?
She looks at Palace. You know this is impossible, right?
A few days ago, bringing you down would have been impossible, but it happened.
It's true. I mean, we are the two geniuses of magics. If we work together, we can do this. That's the only way. Nobody else can do it. So, when last time, like before? Or have you forgotten how to work the dimensional magicals?
Yeah, I remember how it goes.
And she laughs and she dismisses the troops as she starts laying again a grand ritual. So, as the orc gives the farewell, he leaves you with something that only a orc could do. A very typical orc farewell is to giving someone an orcish weapon.
Hey.
So from the scraps of the gate, he fashions a cleaver, and he gives the fellowship the dimensional cleaver, which has the tags dimensional, orc made, and necrotic. And as the ritual is being performed to send him home, Mish, you have time to think, and why don't you tell us what your mind arranges as an explanation? What if Vivi was speaking on the present? What if the impossible is true and a fairy is actively working with Sikandar in Megas? What will the fairy do that? What if it's not being coerced? What if she chooses to do that? Is that even possible?
Fairies are free creatures. They can choose. They usually choose good. Maybe she thinks she's doing good. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she just wants power herself. Who knows? But if there is an actual fairy right now with the Overlord, one fairy isn't good enough. They will need so much more extra help. Because the magical powers that the fairy would grant a hero is like, that's how heroes win eventually. The Overlord isn't a hero.
So the Urark goes home, and Vivi is turning away, and as the troops march out, well, what do I tell Sirkander?
Why go to her at all? Stay with them. Stay with us.
You know it will be worse. She'll follow you herself if I don't come back.
Say you defeated one of us. A small one.
Why don't you give me a talk sense?
Plus what?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think given the fictional position, I think wisdom is what makes more sense.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I got 1/1 in the cubes. That's gonna be bad.
Well, no. It's simple that they cannot do as you ask, and they will tell you why.
Yeah.
You are not the only plans that she has in motion. I don't know if you know that, but she wanted two sources of power. She wanted to replace the spirit of the Blue Mountain with a version from another world, which would be enslaved to her, just as we did to this magnificent orc of another world. And she wants the secret behind the safety and bountifulness of the orphans that is kept at Sanctuary. She needed those two sources of power. She cannot get one anymore. She'll want to go to Sanctuary. She also needs something from the orcs. So she also needs to go after you. So you know that I'll go back and I'll probably be sent to Sanctuary. But if I stay with you, she'll come after you. And we'll have to fight now. And even if you manage to make her back off, she might hurt enough of the orcs to get what she wants.
What would happen if you went back and you told her? What would happen if you go back? What would happen to you?
If I'm lucky, she kills me. If I'm unlucky, she sends me into another job.
Let's not hope for the former then. What does the city look like? Is it like just fairly empty, or all the halflings and the refugees looking?
Well, let's say the city looks like it is being bombarded. Basically, anything that was not on the fringes is damaged. There is barely any quarter of the city that is not seen fighting. The good thing is that the forces of the usurpers and the usurpers themselves, they seem to be sneaking away with the troops of the Overlord. So there's no fighting in the streets, which is a thing that thankfully you managed to avoid.
Why don't you tell her version of the truth then, that we came to blows, and amidst this battle, the city was ruined and magic beyond this world was released. In such a conflagration, the Fellowship was beaten back. On the run, trying to find sanctuary, I suppose.
Or just tell her that we were destroyed or sent to another dimension.
We can lay low and make that fiction partially true, if it'll save your life.
I can buy you time. I can tell you that you were among the fallen and they cannot find you. And if you remain, but that will probably only work for a while, you know. She turns to Palace. You are too powerful. And when you are within the mountain range, you're gonna be cloaked in the power of one of the few beings more powerful than yourself, the spirit of the Blue Mountain. I can get you time. I can give you enough time so that you can brave the tunnels and find your way to the steps. But the moment you come out, she'll know that you survived. But hopefully that buys you enough time to get whatever you plan to do to her emotion.
And Ham will ask what we should do. What's her weakness? How could we stop her? As Vivi must know, surely.
Vivi actually does not know. But she knows one thing. Actually, why don't you speak softly? Because that's the thing. She does not know directly, but she knows things that between what you fellowship learned, you can learn. So you will deduce from what she says, even if she does not know herself.
Six.
Okay, this is dangerous. Okay, so you get to ask 3 questions. One is not helpful, and the other is false. So ask the 3 questions.
What would they have us do next?
They would have, if she had the shoes, I mean, she told you to go to the mountain range and travel the tunnels and take the orcs and the halflings and the maybe even the azure dwarves if they want to go to the other side. That's what she told you. But from the conversation that you have with her, you get the feeling that she would prefer that you go to Sanctuary and protect Sanctuary.
And what can they tell us about the Overlord's plans towards Sanctuary?
They know that the Overlord plans to take over the Kraken that rules the oceans beyond Sanctuary, and that getting whatever is the power source of Sanctuary is only step 1. Step 2 is to control the Kraken using it.
What do they want, and how could we help them get it?
They want Sirkandar to be released of whatever is consuming her to go on this all-out campaign. She wants her childhood friend back. Well, and how you will get that is if you somehow stop her from being the Overlord.
Okay. We should probably get moving.
Well, good luck. And she signals her troops to go. So, what do you do with each of the 3 groups? Well, I'm looking for something that you will like.
We'll just take them under the mountain, let them loose on the steppes beyond. I'm sure they can survive there for a while.
I mean, the 3 of them, orcs, dwarves, and halflings.
The orcs can definitely go out to the steps for a bit. The main thing is like I get a feeling that like we're the Overlord is going to be targeted towards us anyway. Just need to direct these 3 groups to other places of refuge for now. Maybe not a sanctuary, since that seems to be what the Overlord's going for.
We point them in the right direction. They can take care of themselves to a degree. We're trying to free the world, not just these particular societies.
Like, I can, like, at least for the orcs, I don't know about the halflings. Last time I remember the halflings, they were kind of sick from something. Yeah, I think.
They were sick from the orcs, I believe.
Right. Well, yeah. That's the orcs' fault there. Okay.
I'm sure. I mean, if the 3 communities work together, they can take whatever they can from the city. They should be able to build like something out in the wilderness where it's a bit safer. They could make a wonderful new community where orcs and halflings live in peace with dwarves.
That's a bit of an ask. Since you're such a silver tongue, Hamfast, why don't you try and sell that to the 3 communities?
Well, they don't have many choices. They can build 3 different towns if they must. This is where half-orcs come from this world. It's when halflings and orcs live together for too long, you get half-orcs.
You don't know how orcs come to be, Hamfast. Half orcs. Anyway. Besides, this need not be permanent for them if they wish. Someday they'll come back and rebuild. Come back to their homes. As soon as we do what we were meant to do and take down the Overlord. But for now, they'll have to run off to the steppes while we lead the Overlord to Sanctuary. We'll face her there. If she's looking for a source of power in Sanctuary, then why can't we use that same source of power against her?
Is there a like a, I don't know, a fortress or something? Like, does the Overlord have a sort of seat of power or something like that?
Fellas, how about that? Arvinger question.
Go ahead and answer it for me.
Okay, she has a palace, but it's not actually, it's a symbolic seat of place. It's not exactly a mystical seat of place, It's not a source of her power. It's a symbol of what she is. So definitely will get her pissed. Now, as an aside, you're gonna get the fellowship of the Azure dwarves. So you can pick one of these 3 things when we leave. So what are you leaning towards in terms of decision as we wrap up?
Between these moves, or just what to do?
What to do? Take your times with the moves. You don't even need to decide now.
I think maybe we should probably go back to the fairies and tell them that there is a fairy working for the Overlord. Currently, not just in the past. And see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, Aradi is probably the one who's going to talk to the Wood Orcs and tell them that the dwarves will lead them through the tunnels and they will go out to the steppes, whilst the Fellowship will draw the attention of the Overlord away. And we will probably, if it's agreed with Palace and Hamfast, we'll probably go to Sanctuary then.
Okay, so you also get the fellowship of the halflings then. Because I'm assuming that the halflings are also going with the wood elves. And if the three of them are traveling to Wood Orcs, if the three of them are traveling together, they are safe.
Yeah, I don't think there's other alternatives for them to go besides together.
Okay, so as you separate and go your ways, we close up and let's do the end of session move. So, did we save or protect the community need? Yes. Did we strike a blow against the Overlord and the minions? Yes. Did you learn more about the world and its people? Well, we learned that there are orcs in another dimension, at least. So 3 yes. So what do you pick from the options? Refresh one piece of gear for each player, heal one stat for each player, and you don't have to choose yours for your heal, so you can heal other people. And the Fellowship and the Overlord each choose one player to level up.
I'll definitely go with one stat, healing a stat, or at least one of those yeses. So I
And
think,
we have a couple people that can level up.
but we can pick that as well. Like we have 3,
How many level 1 people you have?
2, and one of them won't be here next week.
Yeah. And you have to pick 3, you have to pick the Overlord, so no. So okay, just heal and level up yourselves. Yeah, and you can Mish can use their heal on another person. Getting a bit system. Okay, and then we also have the halfling choices and
Dwarf.
so you have the dwarf ones, and because you also get the fellowship of the halflings, you get if you want to think, we can leave it to do on the hangouts or later.
Yeah, we can leave it for later.
Yeah. Okay.
For the halfling moves, do you mean, or was there anything?
The halflings and the dwarf.
Dwarf.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. I hope you had fun.
It was.
Yeah. See you next time.
See you next week. Bye.
Yeah. And we probably will see how things are on Sanctuary.
Bye, guys.
See ya.